And we're live.
We're here.
Delay, everybody. Hi, PhotoDay family. Happy New Year. Happy Monday. Welcome to the first episode of Unframed of 2024. I'm Reagan. You guys might recognize me from the bubble. And with me is the one and only Jake Carr from J7. If you guys have any questions as we get started, just drop them in the chat and we'll get to those as we can. Jake, thank you for being here today. Say hi. Welcome. Introduce yourself.
Thanks for having me. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year, Reagan. Thanks for the fireworks back there on your TV screen.
Thank you.
Very celebrative moment here. So great. Thanks for having me. Thanks for everybody for hanging on and waiting for us. So.
No problem at all. Jake, tell me a little bit about how you're setting yourself up for the new year.
Wow. The calendar doesn't really care. We just we have holidays and we're only the second week back in, and I hope a lot of you are already back after it. It's for us, we do a lot of youth sports, so it's youth wrestling season. Right now, got a lot of things lined up, but it's nice to get that little refresh and spend a little time with the family, a little time to relax and catch up and do a couple year-end planning things. But I think most of us find we're right back at it. So you got to get the energy level back up and attack it. So
a little bit of calm before the storm, if you will.
Absolutely.
Quiet time. Tell me what kind of solutions you're building up for yourself and your business this year.
I think for us, from a solution standpoint, for me personally, it's about accountability. I really want to focus on accountability, both for just not only in our business and expenses and the way you approach things, taking time to evaluate things. That's really one of the goals for us this year. Maximizing photo day, running promos, just doing a little bit more to see what we can do with the images that we have out there on photo day. And then how can we put more images out there on photo day, give our customers more choices, more options, and then maximize our profit from that. So.
Yeah, before the meeting, Jake and I were chatting a little bit, and he's telling me about running his flash sale for today and just the success that he's seen with that in the last 20 minutes alone, you said?
Yeah, I'll tell you, if you're not using a flash sale or using the promos, dig in there. If you don't know how to do it, hit Reagan up on the bubble because it really is a way to maximize just galleries that have been sitting out there, people who forgot about things. You run a flash sale and you will make some extra, whether it's some extra lens money or some extra equipment money or whatever, just by running that. So get creative with it. You can do custom flash sales, but it's very beneficial. We like to run a sale on the 7th. We're J7, so especially January 7th, June 7th, July 7th, we like to run those days. So
I love that. You told me that in the beginning, and I was like, that is so creative. I never would have thought of that. J7. Brian's in the chat asking, how do you sustain your energy level throughout the year to avoid burnout?
Hi, Brian. What's going on, man? Good to, for me, what I found, I do sports volume photography. I keep getting older, but the kids stay the same age. It's a Matthew McConaughey line from a good movie that some of you know, some of you don't. But, T-ball kids are always going to be 5 years old, and I'm going to get a year older. So I've really focused a lot on getting in shape, spending a lot of time focused on that just to keep the energy levels up. I do take a lot more time for myself than maybe I did. My youngest just graduated from high school last year, so we aren't running around to every football and basketball game and following him around, so I get more time to work out. I become a Peloton junkie. I really love my Peloton for anybody out there. So I think by staying in shape, it just gives me the energy to sustain things. It helps me with my attitude. If I don't work out in the morning, I might have a crappy attitude about things. So just keeps the energy level up. And then when you've got to do, we do a soccer league that has 45 teams on a Saturday, usually in August. And you have to have as much energy at the beginning as you do at the end. And working out and being in better shape has helped me with that a lot. So.
Channeling your inner T-ball 5-year-old, keep you going.
Absolutely. Just patience, lots of patience.
Yeah. All right. So tying back to our last question, sounds like you're more about solutions rather than resolutions. Is that why we're maybe ditching resolutions this year?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge with resolutions is once you fail, we tend to let go and we tend to go back into our old habits. So if you made a resolution for the beginning of the year and it's January 8th and you've already failed or you feel like you haven't accomplished things, you give up and then it goes away and you kind of go back into your old ways. But it's okay to give yourself a little grace and to start over. Today's a Monday, start over. Tomorrow's Tuesday, start over. It doesn't matter what day it is. I already said the calendar doesn't care that it's the first of the year or whatever. If there's something you want to start today. If you want to learn how to do something better, if you want to grow part of your business, if you want to add dance schools to your lineup, then start today. Don't waste time. You can start tomorrow. You can start anytime you want. You don't have to start at the beginning of the year. So more about solutions and just changing your habits and your effort that you put into things.
I'm a big fan of that. Going with grace. It's never too early to start, never too early to start over. Just taking it step by step. You've got all the Peloton fans in the comments over here. They're going hard for it.
Nice.
Doesn't have a name attached to it, but somebody asks, what does the outwork quote behind you say?
So it says, outwork everyone and convince yourself that you deserve to win. And so just a little bit about that. So one of the things that I've started doing over time, so I get the opportunity, we work with a lot of sports teams. Our local sports team, local basketball team, the basketball coach and I kind of have a relationship. So that's our theme for the basketball team this year. And we went in, we did a presentation for them. And basically, work is the one thing that you can control. Your level of output is the one thing you control. Other people are going to have advantages. They're going to have connections. They're going to have talent. They're going to have other things they're born with, money, resources, or whatever. But work is the one thing that you can control. And that's what we talked about with the basketball team. We don't, we're from a small school. We don't have a lot of talent. There's not a lot of crazy athletes on there. But if you can outwork folks, if you can out hustle people, a lot of times you can win. So I think it's the same in business. We didn't have a lot of resources when we started. PhotoDay has been one of a huge, PhotoDay is a huge partner and a huge advantage that we have now, which is super exciting. But we've grown our business by working our butts off, and I think a lot of other people out there are the same way. So
that's really awesome, especially because a lot of our studios are small businesses. 1-2 people teams, some people up to in the teens of employees, but ultimately, small businesses that are trying to outwork and outcompete and doing a beautiful job at it. But that's really awesome. What recommendations and tips do you have for people who might be struggling creating resolutions and goals for the year?
Just really got to put down on paper what you want to accomplish. Put some vision behind it and go, okay, where do I want to be at the end when the clock strikes 12 on December 31st? Where do I want to be? Where's Photo Day is great because it keeps track of your sales. Like where do you want that sales number to be? It kind of gives you arrows. You get it right here on your watch and you can see, like, am I better this week than last week? Am I better this year than last year? So setting that goal is good. Mental goals, mindset goals, get intentional about it. I want to read at least 10 books before June, or I want to work out 3 times every day, or 3 times every day. That'd be good. 3 times every week, until between now and July or whatever it is. Just get real specific about what you want to accomplish. Don't just say, hey, I'm going to work out, or hey, I'm going to lose weight. Actually put the action steps behind it and put some meat behind it. Hey, I want to book at least 3 new clients before July, or baseball season's coming up and I'd really love to add at least one more league, and then start working backwards and, okay, what do I need to do to add that league? Okay, I'm gonna have to reach out. If there's a 1 in 10 opportunity, I'm gonna have to reach out to at least 10 leagues to get that one league, and just kind of start working backwards from there, from your vision of and do the math. So
that how is just as important as the what, how you're going to make that happen, and like seeing it through. But tying back to what you said before, giving yourself grace, and if they fall a little short this month, how are we going to pick it up next month? And if we fall short at the end of the year, how are we going to make it happen next year? Even as little as, how many cha-chings can you get in a day? Something fun like that.
I turned my cha-chings off. I had to. That sounds very conceited, but you can't do it. We have to get some work done. We cannot sit and look at our dashboard all day long, although some of us like to. Yeah. So,
and if anybody needs tips on, how to make it happen, or here are my goals and what are we looking at for the year, the Bubble is always happy to provide whatever advice we can. We're on your team. If you want to set up a call or, have somebody just to chat it out with, we're always happy to be there in your corner for you. Jake, explain to me a little bit about the portrait mode movement you're setting up and how that came about.
Okay, so portrait mode is really, we're photographers and we spend a lot of time behind the camera. And something that came to me last year, I struggled with kind of self-confidence, imposter syndrome kind of thing, just like we all do in confidence. And I was listening to some podcasts and a couple of guys I listened to, and I decided that I was going to have my portrait taken and I was going to hang it on the wall. And it's right up below by my boys up here somewhere. And you mentioned that some of us are 1 or 2 person business. Who has their picture on the wall? It's lawyers, it's doctors, it's CEOs. And we're basically the CEO of our own group. We're not only the CEO of our business, but we're CEO of our own life. We control everything that happens to us. Our decisions are super important. So it was about taking more time to focus on myself and where I was and how far I've come. And then also just kind of accepting that you've come this far, and then, okay, I'm not done yet. I need to go further and I have potential. So my encouragement to everybody, and you've got the resources, you have friends with cameras, you've got assistants, find somebody to take your portrait. Does not matter. The portrait and who takes it does not matter, but take that portrait, have it printed at your lab, whoever your PhotoDay partner is, whoever it is. Do something nice. Don't just put it in a regular frame. Do a metal print or something cool. A new product that you want to test out. Hang it on the wall. I'm serious. And a couple of things that it does. One of your fears, one of the things that holds you back probably is judgment, fear of judgment. And the minute you hang that on your wall, you kind of get rid of a little bit of fear of judgment, and you just kind of tell people you don't care. And even if people are coming through your office, coming in your studio, and they ask about it, or if they look at you weird about it, and like, why do you have your picture hanging on the wall? Like, you just tell them, and then tell them the story. Hey, that's how I recenter when I'm frustrated or I'm having a heck of a day or things aren't going right. Take a look and go, okay, man, you've got this far. We can get this. We can go through this, make the right decisions, and move on. So pretty excited to talk about that at Sync 2024, representing PhotoDay. And it's just something that I'm hoping will catch on. Started writing about it. We're starting a podcast about it. And hopefully by the time we get to Sync, we've got more to talk about there. But you guys have kind of heard it first. I've talked to some of the PhotoDay people and Lisa Malice and other folks about the concept. We're actually going to Miller's Lab next week, and we're going to present to the Miller's Lab leadership. And we're going to talk about the portrait mode, and then we're actually going to do their portraits for them and update their shots and just do it. Because when you do school portraits, right, kids are excited. Kids believe. Kids have confidence. Kids are going to go get their picture taken. But the teachers, what do the teachers say? Oh, I hate, we're like one step over the dentist to teachers. Like, I'm not going to hurt you. I get your picture taken. And people, those teachers, sometimes they lack that confidence to get their picture taken. Well, they don't understand that those kids are watching, especially, the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade girls are watching their teacher fuss about getting their picture taken. And all of a sudden that rubs off, that confidence. They see that lack of confidence, and now their image kind of gets a little bit shattered. So I think as photographers, we've got that responsibility to make people comfortable with their image, to make people comfortable being in front of the camera and accept themselves when it comes to that. So
I love that. If you can do it, they can do it. I won't lie, I hadn't talked too much or heard too much about that before today, and my heart is so warm and fuzzy over that. That made my day. I'm about to go pick out a picture. I know a couple good labs. I'm about to make me an order and hang it up.
There you go.
I love that. And we'll be seeing you at Sync. Hopefully get a little bit more word out about that.
Yeah, we'll be at. I'll be presenting that at Sync on Sunday. We'll talk about a couple other things about. It's Sync's very exciting. You're around a community that's a like-minded community. It's kind of like the PhotoDay, the user group on Facebook only live, and everybody's there and excited. But we're gonna have a few days of great excitement, but then we're gonna go away and we're gonna go back to our business and stuff. So how do we take what we learned and apply it, put some action behind it, and not just go home with a bunch of notes? Let's go home with some actionable items, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the portrait mode. And that kind of thing. So
that's awesome. You leave all these conferences with notes on, better ISOs and lighting and cameras and all these things that you have to do. But, leaving with a bit more confidence about who you are as a photographer and, confidence on being. I love that. Tell me a little bit about what you recommend for people trying to build their self-confidence and their growth, starting off with your pictures.
So, other than the whole portrait thing, I think the portrait thing is awesome, and not everybody will do it, but I think it works. But I think that has to be combined with following some people on a regular basis. Ed Milet, if you do not know the name Ed Milet, I would look at his podcast. Even he posts 2 podcasts a week. One is with a guest that's always good, but then he posts one on Thursday that's usually 20 minutes of him just giving amazing advice. So he's one that I kind of live by and get some coaching by and stuff, but he's somebody to look for. Just find somebody that you like, find somebody that you trust, and follow them, whether you're reading them, whether you're following their podcast, whether you're doing their Audible book, and just think about what you're putting in your brain. Get off of the Netflix series and don't always watch Netflix or Yellowstone or whatever those things are, and find some good positive stuff. Go on a walk and put a podcast on. Just always be learning, not only about photography. Some of us get zoned in and we're like, oh, I got to take a better image. I got to take a better image. Got to take a better image. No, worry about like your business sense. Do things to better that. Do things to better your mindset. Do things to better you as a person, because your relationships with your customers, your relationships with your family, your relationships with your vendors, with everybody, is just as important as the picture you take. You could be the greatest photographer in the world, but if you're a jerk, you're not going to do as well in business. Just bottom line. So really focus and do some stuff. And if anybody wants to reach out, I'm more than happy to give you books that I would read, or authors to follow, or podcasts, or whatever. Got a laundry list of things that I'd recommend based on, and just tell me what your issue is. Hey, what are you trying to work on? And we can point you in the right direction. So,
yeah. Absorbing that positivity. It sounds like what you're all about. I love that. That's definitely been one of my goals for the year, is to start absorbing more positivity, put down the TikTok and the Facebook doom scrolling, and read a couple more books, get a little bit more sunlight, just the small things. That's really awesome. Brian's in the chat. He says, let's set up a portrait station at Sync and enable photographers to get a new portrait.
I would love to do it. So I worked with Darty because that was my original idea, and Darty has me on Sunday. So I'm not going to talk about the portrait concept until Sunday, but we could still work that out. So tell Brian to reach out to me, and we'll do that, because I originally wanted to do that with some of the other vendor partners, but we kind of got shut down. But I definitely think that's a good idea, and I would love to see other photographers taking other photographers' portrait and getting behind the camera. Like, how many times have you said, "Well, I just like being behind the camera," that kind of thing. And you got to kind of get in front of the camera too, so you put yourself in that position and how you feel, and I think it gives you an opportunity to kind of be on the other side of things too, and you can learn from that. So
yeah, no, I definitely think that's a really awesome message, because you're spot on. Oh, I prefer being behind the camera. It's something I've heard 1,000 times, and getting yourself in front, putting on the smile that you make everybody else put on, and putting yourself in their shoes of how they may feel uncomfortable, or not exactly knowing what to do. Build that confidence a little bit, pull that positivity in there. All right, let's see. Is there any other questions in the chat? I think We are all caught up. Brian's excited. Um,
So you mentioned scrolling, right? Can we talk about scrolling for a minute?
let's.
Okay. So that's one thing that all of us should do. Social media is awesome. Social media we can promote, but we have to stop scrolling. And if you think about it, so I love shooting action stuff, shoot basketball games, football games. I love it. And with the new cameras, you're getting 30 frames per second. You might shoot 5,000 frames, but what do you show? You show the top 2% of your frames. That's what you actually show online, or you post for people to buy or whatever. It is the same with social media, right? So you're scrolling through there and you're comparing every hour of your day to everybody's best 1%, 2% life. And we have to stop doing that because you start scrolling and you're looking, you're like, oh man, well, they're doing that and they're doing that and they're doing that. And you start to get bitter and you're like, well, how come I'm not doing that? And it starts to chip away at your confidence, and it chips away and chips away. Just stop scrolling, or at least realize that just stop comparing. Like, be happy for it. One ways that I've followed a lot of photographers for getting ready for sync. I went in, and everybody who was liking sync comments, I went and followed them because I just wanted to see what everybody was doing and stuff. And one of the things you can do is just stop and put a positive message on somebody. So you see somebody doing some great work, stop and make a comment and say, wow, that picture is really awesome. You're killing it. Love your work. Keep up the good work. And so instead of comparing yourself, or instead of keep scrolling and looking at it, just stop and just root somebody on. Cheer somebody on. And what you're doing there is, like, when you cheer somebody on, you're basically letting kind of the world or the universe know that you like success too. So that's one of the things I tried to do, is, like, as I'm scrolling, I'm seeing these other photographers, instead of going, oh man, they're getting to do this and they're getting to do this or whatever, just drop a note and just say, hey, and the feeling, you got the warm fuzzy feelings or whatever, you get that warm fuzzy feeling in there just by rooting somebody on. So, and then they get it as well. So that's one of my suggestions for social media is less scrolling. And if you are going to scroll, just take some time to put some cool comments on some people. I think it grows you as a person, and it just grows your brand a little bit as well. So there's a lot of connections that can be made in the community with photographers out there.
I'm taking that note and putting that in my back pocket and carrying that with me for sure, because I think that is something that the world needs a lot more, and something that I think I can provide more. And your kindness is so moving, and your positivity and your advice, and I can't thank you enough for being here today. You're my first buddy on my first live. So this was a little nerving for me, and I won't lie. And you made this so confident for me, and I am so grateful to have you here. Thank you so much.
Awesome. You were awesome. Thank you.
Of course.
I look forward to meeting you, Reagan. We got to catch up at a PhotoDay experience, or at Sync if you're there, or hopefully get down to the office soon. So
I'll be at imaging this year, but hopefully we'll cross paths. That is all the time we have for today. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. We'll circle back and revisit those after the live. Couple notes. Our next PhotoDay Unframed is going to be extreme episodes. We're going to have Miss Stella Crace on. She's going to be talking about weather. So all you Florida peeps, feel free to tune into that one. And then tomorrow, Roger's going live. He's doing our Back to Basics webinar. I believe that the link is going to get commented to that. Oh, yeah, there, right there in the comments. So if you guys want to tune in, Roger is fantastic. He is going to bring it all back, circle back for the new year. If you guys have any questions, want any follow-up, need anything at all, feel free to hit us up in the bubble too. Jake, I thank you again. And you guys have a great one. Happy New Year.
Appreciate it. Happy New Year, everybody.